I'm Chris Arabsky, and welcome to KARE 11 Extras. These are the stories that take a little extra time to tell, to research, to find. They are meant to inspire, inform, and ignite curiosity. And in this episode, we explore the rise of young adults living at home, meet those who are doing it, and find out why some are calling it a full-blown cultural shift. Plus, 10 years after Prince's death, we discover a whole new set of fans for the Minnesota music icon. But we begin in the land of 10,000 stories. Getting through law school isn't easy, but for the recent graduate you're about to meet, easy wasn't something she was accustomed to. But as Boyd Hooper reports, perhaps it's precisely those difficult times that help set her up for something special.
A fresh coating of snow has frosted this place, like gingerbread. But the first time she arrived here, life was not so sweet.
Hello.
For Zarina.
Hi.
Sementelli.
Sometimes things can be so far removed that when you come back, you're like, wow, this really happened. I really did make it from here.
Here is the Salvation Army's Booth Brown House, a shelter for homeless youth.
Might as well start upstairs.
11 years later, Zarina is back.
It feels almost full circle.
Back in a room in which she'd sit with open books.
I was studying for the ACT.
Back in familiar stairwells and hallways.
Yeah, this is where we did our laundry.
But to fully understand Zarina's journey, let's go back even further.
So my father was never in the picture, and then my mother, she has severe mental health issues, so she didn't work. Every year, it would just be kind of time to move to the next spot. When we got evicted from our house when I was 15, and she moved to Seattle, and I know she didn't have a job or a place to live. So I knew that they were going to be moving there to live in a shelter.
School was the one place Zarina found stability, so she stayed behind, couch surfing at the homes of her Como Park High basketball coaches and teammates, until the unsettled seas of homelessness carried her here.
This was really the first place that I felt like home.
Zarina at 15. Her first day of 2.5 years she'd spend in this room.
Thank you.
A room she's now re-entering for the first time since she left.
When you go from living on someone else's couch, I cannot articulate how important this space was for me.
During the day, Zarina would take transit between school, her job, and grocery shopping. At night, she'd return here to study, which, it turned out, would pay off handsomely.
I remember being right here, opening up my Spelman acceptance letter and just feeling so blessed.
Georgia's Spelman College, from which Zarina would graduate.
I applied for hundreds of scholarships.
Debt-free.
Hi, Kaden. I'm Zarina.
Now
Nice to
she's
meet
meeting
you.
the current
How long have you
occupant
been living
of
here?
her old room.
To see you as just a young person, just, trying to make a way is really important for you to believe in yourself. Can I hug you or? Thank you.
Believing in herself, Zarina attended law school in California, graduating last spring, passing the bar last fall. But that's not all, in which Zarina believed.
When I felt I had nobody on my side, when I didn't have parents to call, I got on my knees and I prayed. And I didn't grow up in the church, and a lot of people doubt God. But when I needed God, God was always there for me.
And she's not done.
Stronger and stronger and stronger. You with me? Yeah!
Air Force officer training, Montgomery, Alabama. Zarina's next stop as she works to become a military judge advocate general.
Definitely remember being in here.
But this stop on the tour is one Zarina insisted she not miss.
So this was my previous case manager, Natalie's office.
Natalie no longer works here, but in this space she helps Zarina set goals and find tutors, health insurance, and food assistance.
My name is Zarina Sementelli.
Natalie, who Zarina recently addressed.
Ms. Bogdan was especially helpful.
In this letter she sent to Booth Brown.
I would be extremely grateful if you could share it or pass along my message of appreciation.
Zarina,
Hi, Zarina.
here's one better.
Hello.
It's so good to see you.
Look at you.
From homeless 15-year-old to law school grad doesn't happen alone.
When I graduate and I pass the bar, I'm like, wow, I wish I could just tell Natalie.
Oh my goodness.
The mentors in my community, they didn't just see a homeless youth that had no future. They saw a person who needed help.
Fresh blanket of snow and the warmth of home.
I mean, I was proud of you then, and I'm very proud of you now.
Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News, St. Paul.
After what she went through, Zarina told Boyd she will never stop looking for opportunities to help other young people the way she was helped. You can now watch full half-hour specials from Boyd's Land of 10,000 Stories wherever you stream. You can also watch every story from the beginning in 2004 by searching for the Land of 10,000 Stories, the complete collection. It's on YouTube. When we come back, a new generation of fans for Minnesota music icon Prince 10 years after his death. Ten years ago, this past April, a somber one for music fans. Prince died of an accidental overdose at Paisley Park. It was news that stunned the world. But in the last decade, he's gained a whole new set of fans, and they're listening and learning about his iconic musical genius. Here's Sunrise anchor Jason Hackett.
For an artist whose impact is timeless. 10 years since Prince's death have seemingly flown by.
10 years to really think and reevaluate and reconsider Prince's legacy.
Dr. Elliot Powell is an expert on all things Prince at the University of Minnesota.
That we get a point to listen to his music, but we can also learn about him in the classroom as well.
Dr. Powell has seen firsthand that Prince's music is not only timeless, it's ageless. You'd see that if you would enroll in his class AMST 3112, Prince, Porn, and the Public Space, the Cultural Politics of Minnesota in the 80s.
The first time I taught it was spring of 2016, and then he passed away right as the semester was about to end.
The course explores the relationship between music, race, and sexuality in Minneapolis during the 1980s. It's one of 3 Prince-themed classes at the U.
We started out with 20 students. It was 20 students in the spring of 2016. This coming fall, the course enrollment cap is at 180. There is this kind of demand, there is this kind of interest, there is this kind of curiosity at the academic level to learn more about Prince and why Prince matters.
The interest in his legend, his music, his fashion sense extend beyond the classroom. Whether it's his music being featured in the series finale of Stranger Things, or on TikTok, where his account has more than 600,000 followers, and you could search through tribute after tribute to the Purple Man. But what is it about Prince that resonates with this current generation? Professor Powell has seen that admiration grow firsthand. He says among his students, the #1 reason for the connection is generational.
My parents loved Prince, and I want to have a deeper connection with my parents. And that is so touching.
But it doesn't stop there. Students were also drawn to Prince's sense of style.
When folks start to see the bold fashion choices of Prince, that becomes another point of connection. We're seeing connections between Prince and Rihanna, and Prince and Bruno Mars, and Prince and all these other kinds of folks.
Also, Professor Powell says in many cases, Prince is their favorite artist's favorite artist.
Olivia Dean, who just won the Grammy for Best New Artist. She's done covers of Prince's music. She has talked about Prince being a part of her playlist. And I think of an artist like her. Singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, much like Prince. She is someone who has performed here before and always shows reverence toward Prince.
Whatever the reason, Professor Powell is glad that Prince's legacy continues to be carried on.
It's hard to imagine that that love has grown even stronger.
We've also put together a half-hour show that looks back on his iconic career. We sat down with Prince's drummer from the Revolution, Bobby Z, to talk about his close relationship with Prince and we look at some of the incredible milestones that have happened in the 10 years since his death. You can find that special by searching the word Prince on your streaming app. When we come back, the Timberwolves may have traded him, but Naz Reid leaves behind a lot of fans in Minnesota and tattoos. We're going to meet the artist behind them and learn about his own battle. That's coming up next. Was the NBA playoffs 2 years ago. A Twin Cities tattoo artist and Timberwolves superfan goes viral for offering to ink 2 words, Naz Reid, on anyone for $20. This past playoff season, Naz still played for the Timberwolves, but the artist is no longer tattooing as he turns his attention to his own battle. Ian Russell has more on what he's facing and the love he's receiving. Full circle.
We're almost done for today.
Like an arm full of tattoos.
So we're just adding on to finish his sleeve. Yep.
It's never really done until the last piece is finished.
It's so difficult.
And at Beloved Studios in Roseville.
He hasn't worked at all since January.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, we don't know when the time is going to be when he gets to be back.
When their missing piece will come back.
It feels empty, like definitely.
For the last few months, JC Strobel's time isn't filled with tattoos.
Yes, sir.
Not even the Wolves ones he helped make famous. It's filled with this.
Anthony Edwards. You want to say it again? Who's that? Who's that?
A silver lining.
Anthony Edwards.
Amongst gray skies.
You want to cherish every single moment, dude.
Last December, JC woke up with a migraine, unable to text his clients. His wife, Anna, said they should go to the hospital just in case. Doctors said they had to stay overnight.
And the next morning, they told us, hey, you have a brain tumor.
JC was diagnosed with a grade 3 oligodendroglioma, a rare, fast-moving brain tumor.
Grade 3 is kind of similar maybe to how you would think of like a stage 3 cancer. It's like when a cancer turns aggressive.
Doctors removed it, leaving a portion of JC's brain just gone.
Area of my brain that I was affected was my literacy, my reading, my writing, and it also took a large portion of my vision. Like, I can see that says dark chocolate, Himalayan, pink Himalayan salt.
Texts are hard to read. Driving may no longer be possible.
I'm not near tattooing right now.
Straight lines are nearly impossible to draw.
Have to basically relearn how to be a tattoo artist from the very beginning of learning how to draw again is quite the endeavor.
JC's client base has exploded over the past several years as well. He and fellow artist Jesse George started the Naz Reid tattoos that hundreds of people now have.
I have this amazing community of people around me. Like, I feel like the luckiest man in the world.
That community isn't just family, artists, and clients. It also includes the team he loves.
Right before JC goes in for surgery, he got a nice little video from Naz Reid himself.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm about to go into brain surgery. Like, thanks, Naz Reid.
His tattoo inspiration now cheering him on.
We got to meet Naz Reid.
Got to go to a shoot around. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, we saw the warm-ups.
Wanting to make sure he was doing all right.
I can't imagine a sports team that is this integrated and tangible in a fan base like this.
JC doesn't know when or if he'll be able to tattoo again.
I am not the tattoos I make or the straightness of the lines that I draw.
But that doesn't matter right now.
We didn't know this was coming for us, but we're gonna be okay.
His recovery will take months, if not longer. And until then,
What are you doing?
this is all that matters.
It's a reminder that we have right now, and we gotta just utilize the moments that we have. All right, go, 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 go.
Ian Russell,
Oh!
KARE 11 News.
JC is still fully in recovery mode and has been going to occupational therapy to help build his motor skills back up. He's also on medication to help slow the spread of his cancer. They're hoping it does that for as long as possible. We're back in a moment.
Young adults adults living with their parents longer.
I think there's a change in sort of what emerging adulthood looks like.
Why more are doing it and saying, why not? Next.
There are plenty of families preparing for their children to head to college this fall, but not everyone's moving out as they're moving on. More young adults are living with their parents longer in what some are calling an outright shift in American culture. Rena Sargentopoulos looks at why it's happening and what has more people saying, why not?
This is our whole family wall.
Alex Radelius is 29 and back home after college and some time in the workforce.
Originally, the plan wasn't for me to be in the States. I, teach French and I teach English as a second language. But at the pandemic, we all kind of got grounded.
All three of my kids graduated from college during COVID. So the traditional find a job and maybe move away was kind of what I expected. But there was no one interviewing. So they all ended up coming home and finding jobs thereafter.
Alex is the last at home and not in a hurry because she's seen the benefits.
Sure. Both of my siblings have houses now. They were able to do that because they also stayed at home.
She recognizes the privilege in that, the opportunity to get ahead financially, and Mom agrees.
This way they get to put it aside for either the near-term future, if it's a house, or the longer-term future in terms of retirement accounts and that kind of thing.
Alex has several friends her age that also live at home with parents. It's become more common than you think.
I think there's a change in sort of what emerging adulthood looks like and what independence sort of looks like, particularly for kids in their 20s right now.
Dr. Michael Curtis is a couples and family therapist. He says there's been a shift in the culture.
In my generation, there was a stigma around, wow, you're living with your parents, or you're still relying on your parents to do things. And I think this younger generation is like, yeah, because that's the smarter way of doing it.
But how big is this shift? New data from the Pew Research Center shows about 18% of young adults aged 25 to 34 currently live with their parents. Except for a short blip in the 2010s, it is the highest rate since the 1940s. Men are more likely to live at home than women, and the main drivers are high rent and low housing affordability.
The average young person living at home these days is actually pretty much making a smart financial decision based on the reality of the job market and the housing market that we're now in.
Jana Johnson is an economist with the Humphrey School of Public Affairs at the University of Minnesota. She says back in the 70s, the median priced home was about 3 times your annual income.
Today, it's 5 times, right? So that's largely considered to be pretty unaffordable.
Harvard University's Joint Center for Housing Studies confirms those numbers, saying wages across the country have gone up, but not nearly as much as the increase in housing costs. Think about this. The median annual household income back in 1985 was $23,620, and the median home price was $82,800. In 2025, that income rose to just above $83,000, but the median house price a tick above $415,000. Wages went up by 252%, but cost of housing up 403%. And while Americans are starting to embrace multi-generational living, for other cultures, like the Hmong culture, it has long been tradition.
These are 2 pictures of my parents-in-law. This is back in Laos.
Mai Chi Vu talks fondly of her husband's parents. They lived together for years. In fact, it was 3 generations in the same house.
They took care of our 2 boys at that time, which was really beneficial to us in many ways.
Mai Chi was able to go to work and back to school at the same time. Not having to pay for daycare helped them pay off her master's degree. But as Vayu explains, the impact was much deeper than financial.
Because with my parents at home, that we have the luxury that they were able to pass down our history because we never have a written language until the 1970s. So every story has been passed down on bedtime.
The Vus have 1 child left at home, letting them all stay until they were both financially and emotionally ready to move forward. And with all the good that comes with that, it's a fact that parenting an adult child can bring its own set of challenges.
For parents, it's really a challenge of how do I learn to pull back and become more of a mentor role and a guidance role instead of do X, Y, and Z, and allowing them to go out, try things, fail, and know they have a safe place to come back to.
Jean and Alex have experienced those challenges.
Yes.
But they've also realized that if everyone meets set expectations, it's a win-win.
Don't worry about it.
The goal is that life is easier for both of us by having this combination.
Yeah, I think so too.
Now you may be thinking, back in the day, the interest rates were over 12%, and you're right, but comparatively, it is still less affordable to buy a home now. And experts say many negative connotations of staying at home are simply going away, especially when the young adults are working and saving money. Remember, you can continue to catch up on the KARE 11 Extras wherever you stream. I'm Chris Arabsky. Thanks for watching.